Ready? Okay. All right. Next week, you and I have talked and set up a date for me to come into your classroom and do an observation in which I will be in your classroom for the entire hour. And of course, I've already observed you on several occasions. But this time, when I come in there, I want to know some things that you specifically want me to look for because when I've done previous observations, of course, I've had the TEAC standards, and that's been my guiding force. But I want to know some specifics that you want me to look for that may help you make some improvements in some areas, and maybe some weaknesses that you feel like you may be continuing to see, or maybe some strengths that you want me to look at and kind of give you some feedback on. So at this point, when I come in for that whole hour, tell me what it is that you actually want me to look for.
Well, aside from the TEAC standards, I think that I would like you to also look for opportunities where I could provide more higher order thinking or critical thinking skills. I think we'll be covering a grammar concept, and sometimes within the grammar concepts, it becomes so black and white. And what is this sentence? What is this? And it's not as higher order thinking as I would like it to be. And so I'm going to try to incorporate some things that I haven't in the past when I've taught this concept. And so feedback on whether or not it was successful, or even more opportunities that I can provide more real world, higher order critical thinking opportunities within the grammar concept that we cover.
All right. So when I come in, you will be on the topic of grammar.
Yes, it'll be
Okay.
verb moods, and so the grammar concept, verb
Alright.
moods.
Well, let me say this, and I hope this makes you feel better. The times I've been in your room, as far as the higher order thinking is concerned, I feel like you always challenge your students. It doesn't matter what background they come from, whether they're your inclusion kids or whether it's your just your regular kids. You definitely push them to that level of higher order thinking. But as far as when I do come in here and I do look closely at this, can you tell me what are some things that is going to maybe prove or show that we're working on higher order, or um, what are some tasks that they're going to be doing? Maybe
I think that in my teaching, I like to make sure I ask more like how, why, how do you know this? Why would this sentence be this verb mood, or things like that? And then also, I'm going to try to have an activity where they just look at a picture, and it will be something, things that they're familiar with, like animals or a car or something like that, and they'll have to create their own sentence. And so I guess just feedback on whether or not it is effective, or ways that I could make it more effective or higher order thinking in those situations.
Okay. All right. So tell me this: Why do you consider why questions to be higher order thinking? What's your thoughts on that?
I think because it's beyond the basic level of just memorization, but they have to consider multiple factors. And so it creates an environment where they have to use multiple processes of their thinking to get there. So therefore, it's higher order.
Gotcha. Do you think that justification falls under that? I mean, they have to justify why they feel.
Yes, I mean they can look at a sentence and say, "Oh, it's a subjunctive verb mood," but then they have to tell me why and their justification for why it fits under that category.
Okay. Do you think that? Do you kind of have an idea of maybe how things are going to go that day? Do you? I mean, do you have maybe a goal in mind as far as how would you determine if this lesson's going to be good, or do you have thoughts already? Do you?
I think that it will be dependent on how well the students are able to create those questions. I think there will be a little bit of a challenge. I think that there may be some struggling, and so there'll be moments where it will feel like the lesson might not be successful, but it's helping the students get through that moment of feeling like they're not being successful to pushing into that higher order thinking. So I think that my goal by the end of the day is that they're able to not only identify what verb mood a sentence is in, but also using that verb mood in their own writing, which they will do through that activity.
Okay.
And so with looking at these pictures and creating their sentences, they'll see that they can create different sentences in different verb moods. So then in turn in their writing they will eventually use it. So it's beyond just you need to know this for the test, but you can incorporate this in your writing
Right.
and know what you're writing.
Or will they be doing some group work?
Yes, there will be
They
some
will.
collaborative work.
How are you going to put those groups together?
We recently took a quiz over our last grammar concept, and it kind of identified whether or not the students could look at verbs and identify whether they're action or linking. And so I kind of can see which students are already going to struggle with verbs and with the other concepts that we're coming into in the coming months. And so I'm going to use the data from that quiz to group them in and having kind of like a high, middle, low,
Right.
hopefully. And with that quiz, because it really was, some made hundreds, some made 80s, then some made 50s and need that remediation. And
Right.
so with that group, maybe that they can receive the support that they need, and I can be more individualized within the groups.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I will say, the past and previous observations, as well as you share in your data notebook, you've always got that data to a T. I mean, you definitely assess your students constantly, whether it be verbal assessment, whether it be written assessment, whether it be some type of assessment on the computer. But your data notebook is always full of just, data that just driving your instruction.
Mm-hmm.
So you do an excellent job at that. I lost my train of thought. It left me. All right. So let me go back and kind of just clarify what I've heard from you so far. Okay, definitely you want me to concentrate on higher order thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Look for those things. Look to see if your kids are reaching those levels. Are you challenging them? Those kinds of things. All right. So you're also going to be doing some group work.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you're going to be looking at grammar, mood,
verb mood.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you're going to give them some pictures, and then they're going to have to create sentences and things based on those pictures. All right. And then you said you would ask more how, why questions during this lesson. Are you going to end the lesson with any type of assessment?
Yes, they will have to choose the verb mood that they feel like they are struggling with the most and create a sentence using that and explain within that how their sentence fit into the verb mood, how it fit into the rules of that verb mood.
Okay. All right. Good deal then. Is there any, do you feel like, do you feel like you have a pretty decent understanding of higher order thinking?
I do. I feel like I've had
Okay.
some training with my college work, and
Uh-huh.
then even since we've had training here at the school, that I feel like I have a good understanding, but I think I have to take my understanding to the next level with implementation.
Okay. Do you have any questions about anything as far as, when I come in the room, anything as far as, before the observation or during the observation? Anything specifically that you expect from me when I'm in there?
No,
I'm bad about wanting to be involved now.
I know you like to and I enjoy that.
Uh-huh.
Though I feel like it makes the kids feel more comfortable, and you see a better side of them. But I don't think so. I think that the higher order thinking is the main thing I want to focus on, and everything else has been pretty clear. I'm excited about it.
All right, good deal then. Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.